I was experiencing some challenges in one of the business that I'm into. But back then when I started the business, I had the monopoly of the market. And after a while, people start getting interested in the business, so they also get into the business, and it became really hard because I had one competitor who was very close to me, like 100 meter from where I was doing my activities, and it made things really difficult for me because this business required enough space for you to function. So I couldn't make the amount I used to make in the beginning, and I started thinking of selling the company or even selling the how do I say, the assets that allowed me to operate. So I was really at the bottom, and I was like, no, I'm done with this. So I decided to go and read this book, and surprisingly, I welcome to Let's Grow Together Afro. My name is David Bisimo Murabazi. I'm a third-year student in logistics and supply chain management, but also an entrepreneur in Africa. So on this channel, we share experiences in order to contribute to the growth of the African youth, because I believe, or we believe, that as growth, we have a lot of potential that need to be explored. Therefore, we share topics that concern personal development, education, financial growth, spiritual growth, emotional growth, as well as other topics that contribute to the growth of the African youth. So if you're also there to grow yourself, to develop yourself, then let's go, guys. So today's topic is the second part of the previous video that I made on how to develop yourself in terms of personal or self-development. But in this video, I'm going to talk about books that concern your financial education and financial growth. So if you want to grow yourself financially, to develop your way of seeing finances, of managing your money, then this video is meant for you, especially as a young person. So the books that I'm going to share with you are books that I personally read, okay? And that one I'm going to share with you the takeaway point, or what you could expect as a result or as outcome at the end of each book. Alright, but before we start the video, let me put a video, just a short video for you. It will make you understand how important reading is. Okay, let's watch this video together, guys.
Become a good reader. See, one book might save you 5 years. Did you know there's books on how to be stronger, more decisive? Be a speaker, be a leader, have a better effect on other people, develop your personality. Did you know there's books on that? And people don't read them? Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written their stories in books, and they wrote down how they did it, and people don't read it? How would you explain that?
Yeah, it's a very old video, but I think it tells a lot, right? The guy is even making mockery of people who don't read, right? Because in those books, there are a lot of topics that can help in solving people's problem today. How to become a good speaker, right? How to become a good leader, how to develop yourself, how to be successful. All of that, all those topics are in books, and people don't read them. So that's how important, that how relevant reading books is. So let's start with the first topic, the first book, without wasting our time. The first book that I recommend you guys to read is the book My Mother's God, written by Ricardo Kanyama. In this book, the author tells the story of the goat that was left as the only inheritance from his father after he deceased. And through this goat, his mother was able to school him as well as his siblings. When I say him, I'm referring to the author, Ricardo Kanyama. So through this, he was able to go to school until going to his master's degree. So he obtained a master's degree in theology. After that, he started working. He got his first job where he was paid 15 euros per month. So he started wondering, I have a master's degree in theology and I'm unable to take care of myself. My mother didn't go to school, but she managed to school not only me, but also my siblings. How did she do that? Then when he started reflecting on what his mother did as a strategy in order to school them by leaving the gods and let the gods give birth to the kids, and through that she was able to sell them and school her children. So Ricardo Kanyama tried to apply the same principle with the small salary that he was getting. So he started saving money slowly by slowly until he got his 50 euro. Afterward, when he realized that 50 euro was the value of one goat back then in his country, so he's like, okay, I have one goat here, so what do? I keep it, I keep saving, then I later invest it. So he kept on applying the same strategy his mother applied, and today he's a billionaire. So you will love this book if you're trying to learn how to save properly or how to manage your finances better, especially if you have a small salary or a salary that is not sufficient enough for your whole needs. Because here the author explains or shares with us the challenges that he had, in despite of that he was still able to come out successful. The second book that I recommend you guys to read is the book Rich Dad and Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. Here, if there is a lesson that I should say I learned from this book, is that where we are today is the result of the decisions we made in life. Why? In this book, through this book, the author explains or tells us the experience he had by watching the decisions that the rich father was making compared to what the poor father was making, and where these decisions led them in life or made them be in life. So through this book, you know how you should think if you are planning or if you want to be rich. Okay, so how rich people think versus how poor people think. But also for those who are interested in real estate, I think you also have a bit of knowledge about this, because the author also talks about his experience in real estate and so on. I'm not gonna go in depth because I'm not going to make the book summary. It's not what I'm doing right now. So I just recommend you to read this book. By giving you these tips, this is what you should expect, okay? The third book that I recommend you guys to read is the book Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. Here, the book focuses on the power of thoughts. You become what you think. You can become whatever you think. I think it, for me, through this book, I was able to enhance or increase my power of thinking, of dreaming bigger, thinking bigger, okay, not putting limitation to my thought and my dreams. Through this book, the author shares life experiences, okay, with the people he encountered, people he met, successful people, and through their stories you will learn a lot. If there are three qualities or lessons that you will learn, it's lessons regarding perseverance, the power of imagination, and believing in yourself. So the emphasis is on those three important things. So if you want to develop your thought, your way of thinking, okay, in order to access to riches, then I recommend you that book. The fourth book that I recommend you guys to read is the book The Richest Man in Babylon. This book covers different stories of the antique Babylon, and here I think if there are two lessons that I can mention for now, is that it emphasizes on not really relying on luck, right, and hesitation. But that two, I would say the two barriers that you have in your life if you're really aiming for success. Hesitation, first of all. Here the author tells the story of a shepherd who had his herd in the evening time, and he had an emergency, so he wanted to sell his herd to a merchant, and this guy was hesitating. He was wondering whether he should go for it or not. So by hesitating, this shepherd, since he had an emergency, he decided to go and sell his herd to a different person. And what happened, since he sold it at a cheaper price, the person who bought the herd sold it the day after to a higher price, almost the double of the price he got it for. And what the lesson here, if this guy was not that hesitative, he wouldn't have missed this chance, and probably it would have been his opportunity to make it in life. So there's some lessons or some sentences that really grab my attention. I'm going to cite some of them here. So the first one is this one. Opportunity is an arrogant goddess who wastes no time on those who are not ready. Just relate to the example I gave. If you're not ready, opportunity is not going to wait for you. So whichever opportunity you see, seize it. Okay? That's the first thing. That's the first sentence. The second one is, when it comes to making life-changing decisions, the first idea is always the best. After reading this book, because as I said before, I'm into business, And it happened that sometimes I face some challenges, dilemma, where I have to make a decision and in very short time. So what I do, I apply this principle. The first thought, the first decision that comes to my mind is the one I go for. If it's a risk, like okay, then you have whether to buy this TV or the other one. I know that this one will cost me a lot, but in the long run, it's gonna be helpful. It's gonna be useful to me. Okay, I'll go for it. That's the first thought that will come to my mind. Later on, they'll be thought like, no, it's gonna be expensive. Oh, you don't have enough money. Oh, what if this? What if that? What if it breaks and so on? You know. So that are second thoughts that in most cases they're not helpful and they just hinders from achieving success. The fifth book that I recommend you guys to read is the book 40 Years in Prison or 5 Years of Hard Work, written by Maxim Victor. I'm going to tell you the story behind this book. The reason why I read this book was back then, I think it was in 2023, yeah, right at the beginning of the year, or I think it was in the middle, mid-June. I was experiencing some challenges in one of the business that I'm into. But back then when I started the business, I had the monopoly of the market. And after a while, people start getting interested in the business, so they also get into the business, and it became really hard because I had one competitor who was very close to me, like 100 meters from where I was doing my activities, and it made things really difficult for me because this business required enough space for you to function. So I couldn't make the amount I used to make in the beginning, and I started thinking of selling the company or even selling the how would I say, the asset that allowed me to operate. So I was really at the bottom and I was like, no, I'm done with this. So I decided to go and read this book, and surprisingly I got the solution to my problem. It's not as if he gave me step-by-step approach on how to operate that solution, but he gave me insight on how I could solve that problem. So here in this book, the author made me understand, okay, he made me understand that competition is not a negative thing. It's actually something positive because it's an opportunity for me to grow and develop myself, to differentiate myself from my competitors. So from that day, I decided to make a business plan, okay, and I start applying it. The result is quite surprising because when I start applying that one, most of my competitors, because I had like 3 or 4 competitors just surrounding me, most of those competitors couldn't copy anymore with that competition, and they had whether to shut down or to move and go somewhere else. Now, yes, I don't have that same amount of money that I was making, but I know that I have a huge share market in that specific area. So if I never read this book, I think by now I would have stopped that business. So sometimes you need to read books in order to solve some problems that you're facing or dealing with in your life. Okay, so when you're reading a book, start with by setting an objective. Okay, put a goal. Okay, after reading this book, or I'm reading this book because I want to achieve this, and that what happened with me. So through that book, I was able to find the solution to the problem I was facing by then. So that's the fifth book that I recommend you guys to read. That was all for today. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to wish you a very nice evening. By the way, if the video interested you, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to not miss out any of our upcoming videos. Take care of you guys. Bye bye.